first memory of tennis was actually in 1980 when we first arrived in the United States. We landed in San Francisco, and it was a layover before we went to Minnesota. I just recall leaving Laos and Thailand and in a refugee camp, and in the 4 years I was there, I was always looking outside of the fence, so I've always been wanting to be out there with the kids and play. And so ironically, when we got to the United States, there was a tennis court. I didn't know it was a tennis court. And I was on the other side now, I was on the outside. But I wanted in this time. I wanted inside this cage. My stepfather at the time didn't know any English. The only thing he knew was that his boy wanted a tennis ball, and he went up to the instructor at the time and said, There's a little boy who was like really sad because he wanted one of these tennis balls. Can you please give him one? That's what I translated. I got my first tennis ball. That was my first memory of tennis. When I think about my journey in tennis and coaching and volunteering, is actually right on this very court that you're sitting on right now. I played number 4 singles back as a freshman for Como Park High School, and I thought at the time I was a pretty darn good tennis player, being my first year. But then this player from Korean Durham Hall showed me something I have never seen before. He hit a kick serve. I didn't know it was a kick serve back then. I was surprised, and I was also, after the match, astonished about the fact that he possessed something. It was knowledge, it was technique that I didn't have, and that really sat with me. I felt almost a sense of injustice, where I felt like this kid knew something, or somebody gave this kid something that I didn't have, and I needed to know what it was. And that really just kicked off my journey, my motivation to find out what it was that I was missing, this opportunity gap that I found out later on that existed between perhaps the city schools and some other schools that were a little more privileged. When I completed my degree in college and went on to education, become a teacher and a coach, I was on a mission to bridge that gap. I was not ashamed to ask other people, teaching pros, hey, how did you do that? How do you hit that kick serve, that slice? Because I knew that that information that I would gather would then be delivered and diffused back, hopefully, to my players. And that was really ultimately my mission, was to make sure that I gave all the kids that were involved in tennis and athletics all the opportunities, and we're going to take away all those gaps. We're going to take away those excuses and let the kids, and raise the bar for these kids. And it turned out to be beautiful. I had a wonderful time seeing these kids grow, and that's one of the biggest pleasures I've had in my life as an educator, as a coach, is seeing these kids grow. I often think about my early years in education, well, actually even in high school, when teachers were asking us to volunteer at different events, food shelter and whatnot. As an immigrant, that didn't make sense to me, because here I am, like, having one meal a day, and I'm like helping give people food. That was kind of like an oxymoron. Like, I needed food, I'm giving food away. And as an educator, trying to like teach these things to these kids, and the meaning of like giving back when they themselves don't have enough. I got to a point of realization that it gave me something different. It gave me a sense of pride. It gave me a sense of like worth. It was beyond myself. It was something bigger than myself. Understanding the value of belonging to some place, a community, a city, a group of people, a race, and then giving back. How did I get to this point of like, I can now volunteer? I want to volunteer. In some ways, I need to volunteer. When you receive something early on in your life, this is to honor them too, but also the fact that I am part of a community. I'm a part of tennis, which is a community in itself, and I wanted to thrive for a long time. If you feel connected to something, right, such as another person, if you are connected to a community and you feel that you belong, then you are willing and happy to contribute. This is why volunteering is so crucial, because people have a lot of needs, many different forms of needs. And if you have the means, and simply sometimes time is most valuable. That's why it's important. I think everybody has a stage in life where they have to define their purpose. And my purpose right now, and for many volunteers, is to give back to the community that gave to them. I really didn't understand the scope of the opportunities of volunteering out there. But Deepu was another person I thought about, is because he was the first person to intentionally, I believe, call me up personally and say, hey, I want you to think about volunteering. That was never really on my mind. If we want to increase our pool for volunteers, we have to be intentional about our methods. We have to tap into our network, our communities, and really connect to the people that are resources. Sometimes people don't know that they're resources until you say, hey, you are a valuable resource, and here's what you can offer. Or think about what you can offer.